Welcome to St. Emily's, where we're going to look at a problem that a lot of you are familiar with. This is the problem of the week that comes for the grade 5-6s from the Center of Excellence in Mathematics Computing at the University of Waterloo. But this particular problem is a really good example of the types of things we're doing here at St. Emily's as it pertains to MathUp. We've learned recently that one of the biggest tools that we can use is number lines. And lots of times when we look at this type of problem, we see a Cartesian graph or a quadrant of it. We understand that these are x-axes and y-axes, but we don't necessarily think of them as being number lines in proportion. If we take a look here, we can see first of all that we have some labels, label of time and a label of distance covered, and we have some values, a 2, a 4, and a 6. We have a 1 over here, but we recognize that we're going to have to figure out some of these values. If we think of these as being multiple number lines in proportion, it becomes fairly easy. We can see, first of all, that we have several number lines coming across, and we recognize that we have the 1 up there. But if we understand that there's actually 5 number lines coming to a value of 1, and we know that they're in proportion, we also understand that this particular number line is going to have a value of 1/5. And if we think of 1/5 in decimal form, that gives me my value of 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8, and finally my value of 1. When I come along the other side, however, I can see that I also have number lines in proportion. And in this particular case, they give me my 2, my 4, and my 6. But when I count here, I recognize 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I actually have a proportion of 1 to 1. And so my 6th number line has a value of 6. And so because of that proportion of 1 to 1, these number lines are simply going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then at this point, we're able to solve our problem. But within our problem, which says, how much distance does Sierra cover in the first 2 minutes? We have to ask ourselves at this point, what are the key words? What are the ones that we need to draw out? And we recognize, number one, distance is actually contained within my label. And so we have distance covered over here. I also see 2 minutes. Well, minutes is contained over by my time. And the difference with minutes is they're giving me a value. So I have a known value going with minutes, but I have an unknown value going with distance. And so that's the portion of the problem that I have to solve. And so when I look at this and it says, how much distance does Sierra cover in the first 2 minutes? I come here and I see, oh, under 2, I have a value. They want to know what's the unknown value. So in this particular case, my answer is going to be the 0.2 kilometers. I hope that helps you understand the types of things we're doing here at St. Emily's as it pertains to MathUp. And one way that you can use number lines, follow us on Twitter, and we hope to see you next week. Thank you very much, guys.